corporate employees, and welcome. Thank you so much for being here. We're so happy you're here today. I'm Sam, and I moderate these weekly presentations, and in just a second, we're going to be joined by Michael Corgett. He is one of our financial advisors, and he is here today to speak to you about the common mistakes we hope to help you avoid making if unfortunately faced with a layoff from your company. Before he comes on, though, just a couple quick housekeeping items. First and foremost, I'd like to just remind you we are not affiliated nor endorsed whatsoever by any specific company. We are a completely independent group of financial advisors here, so please keep that in mind. Second, I apologize in advance. We will not have time today to answer any of your questions live, but I encourage you to still ask away. It's completely anonymous, and I will make sure one of our financial advisors can reach out to you after the presentation has ended to answer those questions or speak to those concerns either through phone or email after the presentation is ended. And lastly, while Michael is speaking, you will see me entering some links. They're going to pop up right above his head there, and those are direct clickable links. You can click right on those links to be taken to our calendar where you can book an appointment with one of our financial advisors for a free 15-minute consultation to either get started or updated on your retirement planning. You can also click on a link to follow us on YouTube or LinkedIn where we post tons of retirement-related content weekly. We really think you'd get some value out of it if you considered giving us a follow, and if you do, thank you so much in advance. And with all of that out of the way, now we're going to get started with Michael Corgett.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Today we're going to talk about probably one of the most uncomfortable things that could happen to anybody, and that's being laid off or surplused or whatever word that you want to consider what it is. We're going to talk a little bit about what we believe you should do and not do, some things to consider moving forward, some strategies mentally and physically that you can utilize to help get yourself through this change in your life. And I mean, it is one of the three biggest changes in an individual's life is losing their job, and then it's just some of our thoughts on how to help you move forward. Over the last 12 months, there's been close to 39 million people laid off in the United States over whatever surpluses or layoffs that might have been. 23% of Americans have been laid off in the past 12 months. This is full-time employees. They estimate that upwards of 73 million Americans will lose their jobs, or their jobs will be just outright eliminated by 2030 due to automation. And they talk about this often when the term AI or artificial intelligence comes up. Many major Fortune 500 companies have let go of a lot of employees since 2020. And AT&T, as you see here, is at the top of the list. 74,000 employees have been pushed out the door in some way, shape, or form, just literally in the last 4.5 years. But it's not just them. As you can see, ExxonMobil, Chevron, Kaiser Permanente, and even ConocoPhillips. The list goes on and on and on. What should you do if you get a layoff notice? Well, layoffs have been announced, or many of them were announced last year, and we are certain that there will be many more announced this year. Economically, our economy is in pretty good shape, but most companies are trying to figure out and have found a way to do more with less people. But as you can see here, many employers, major employers like Citi, Boeing, Tesla, Intel, UPS, Amazon, just to name a few, you recognize them all. They have laid off thousands of employees last year. And what do you want to do and what not to do when you are affected by a layoff? Several different bullet points that we're going to talk about here right now. The first of which is making financial decisions. First and foremost, you have to step back and take a look at what your situation is, okay? Chances are, if you are laid off, you're going to get some kind of severance benefit. So you can count on some cash coming in the door. But you may also want to consider potentially doing an in-service withdrawal from your 401k. If you're over the age of 55, it's called Rule of 55, a post-55 tax treatment, or a 72T distribution. if you're not 55 years old. Either one of these will allow an individual to make a withdrawal from their qualified retirement plan and avoid the 10% penalty. You won't avoid taxes, but you will avoid that 10% penalty. Consider getting a home equity line of credit established. I've always recommended that people have one of these available to them. They are typically at fairly low interest rates because they're tied to your house. They can work in the form of emergencies, as well as having them available if a child comes to you, you're going to have to pay for a wedding, or if you need a new car. Sometimes the interest rates are better than traditional loans, so definitely might want to consider this too. You don't have to use it, but it would be nice to have one available. And then increase your cash holdings overall. Just have liquidity set aside in bank accounts or savings accounts or money market funds, wherever it might be, that you've got easy access to if you need it moving forward. You don't know how long it's going to take you to find another job. Don't discuss the termination before taking time to process this emotionally. This is very important. Delay discussions with management after receiving the layoff notice to, again, manage your emotions. You're going to be upset. You do not want to say something that you're going to regret. You're going to want a referral or a reference from this employer moving forward, and you want them to say nice things about you. But also, you're going to want to research all of the company's policies for severance package negotiation in general. Now, most employers offer some kind of severance program, and it's pretty much the same thing over and over and over again, especially if your employer has laid off small groups of people over time. Whether it's whatever it might be, and in many cases it could be 6 months, it could be even 12 months, possibly even longer. Again, many employers are downsizing and trying to do more with less people. Don't refuse any help with your transition. Maintain kindness despite the challenging circumstances. Again, keep your head up. Don't get upset. Don't say bad things because you're going to want to aim for a favorable reference from your employer that showcases your utmost professionalism. Okay? You want to go out on a solid note. Don't ignore the opportunity to resign. Okay? Not recommended, but you could consider resignation. You just want to be aware of the impact that that resignation could have on potential unemployment benefits. In many cases, employers will not fight or will not contest it if you choose to go and file for unemployment. So in many cases, you can get the severance payment and file for unemployment benefits with the state that you live in for anywhere from, let's say, 13 weeks to possibly even 26 weeks. Plus the unemployment office is a great resource for new jobs. It's not, the internet is also one of the greatest resources, but these are just things that you're going to want to consider. Requesting a reference. I've already talked about this. Utilize their recommendations for future job searches. Strengthen your professional network with positive references. This is where the use of resources like LinkedIn and some of the resume websites are very, very useful. LinkedIn is a great business networking tool. We use it a lot in our industry to meet folks like yourself, but it's also a great place to line out all of your strengths. Put your resume on the site, and then go out and look for people that network either in the skill set that you have or your former employer or other employers where you may know people that work at. You might work at the phone company, but you never know. The gas company may have positions like that. The electric company, who knows? So using these tools for networking purposes can be very beneficial. And the job search websites, one of which I talked about many times is Indeed, and the resume websites, they do work. It is a new world out there looking for a new job. You're not going to be going out and knocking on doors. You're going to be sending a lot of emails and following up on requests, and you may never actually get to talk to an individual, but you're just going to have to keep your head up moving forward. Do not miss the opportunity to ask why you were laid off. Petition human resources for additional time to rectify any issues that might be need recognition and need to be taken care of. Review your employment contract, your union contract, and any anti-discrimination statutes. Many people contact an attorney just because they believe that they may have been laid off in a sense, or it maybe have done wrongly. I'm not saying you're going to win this, but it never hurts to consult other professionals, as well as people that you know that may have worked at your company and were laid off prior to you. Contact them, find out what their experiences were and what they did, and heck, you never know. Find out where they're working now. There may be other job opportunities with that employer. Don't quit without investigating other opportunities within the company. Most employers do have other jobs. It may be a different job than what you're used to, but you may want to consider this. It may even be a step back or a demotion, but it could allow you to stay on with that employer. And in many cases, if you've been with that employer for a long period of time, you've got a pension, you've got a 401k. You may not be pension eligible completely. And if you find another job within that company, you could continue your service, and then you never know. You may then suddenly meet the modified rule that you need to be fully pension eligible. And you won't miss out on all of those pension benefits that you've earned over all these years. Okay? So, don't announce your layoff immediately. Again, reflect on your thoughts and the message that you're going to share before announcing a job loss, and consider how you might be perceived with colleagues and contacts moving forward. Again, I can't say it enough. Keep your head up. Be positive. Okay? I know you're upset. I know I would be too. But, a positive attitude will be good for your psyche. It'll be good for your health. And in turn, it can be very good in providing you with an opportunity for another job. Finally, factors to consider. Be mindful and cautious not to let your emotions control you. I've talked about that already much. Be careful choosing your words. Again, only sharing with trusted parties, i.e. friends or friends that are professionals. And minimally give yourself some time to reflect on getting this notice. Again, don't get upset. Don't burn bridges, because you're going to need this employer's help. Potentially, definitely going to want a reference from your old boss or your boss's boss and other people that you work with. You may be going to work for a company where you have friends that work there, and you're going to want them to be able to provide you with a positive reference as well. Adaptation strategies. Write down your emotions. I think this is a great idea. I do this quite often with a lot of things that bother me. If I write them down versus expressing them verbally and then reading it over and saving those notes, I know I've been through this before. Not a layoff, but any issue that you have going on in your life. Write those thoughts down and then review them and hang on to them, because those same thoughts may come back to you. Exercise more. Stay physically active. Burn off the negative energy. You'll feel better. Your mind will be sharper. It's a great idea. Create self-complexity and diversify your identity. Not quite sure what that means, but you know what? Change. It may involve a change in your appearance, a physical change in your appearance. Might recommend cutting your hair, or shaving your beard, or updating your wardrobe, or changing your makeup. Just many things. You want to look as positive as possible. Some reference resources here. You could reach out to our office and we'd be happy to provide you with this information along with several other ideas. But you can also take a quick picture of this slide for these resources. I've mentioned many already. Your Unemployment Bureau is always a great resource. The state agencies, there are a lot of resources as far as job training that's out there. You may wind up going back to school and getting, updating your degree or getting a new degree, or even changing fields altogether. I remember years ago a gentleman that I met in the hospital after having elective surgery. He had spent 25 years with a manufacturing company, and that company basically was had been purchased, was downsized and then closed, and he lost his job. This gentleman in his 50s went back to school and became a nurse. And that's how I met him. He was the nurse in the hospital that I happened to be in overnight. Pretty interesting. So you just never know where life is going to take you. Finally, have a plan. You definitely ought to have a plan long before you get laid off from your employer. And most Americans do not have a plan. Take advantage of the opportunity. We would be happy to put together a retirement cash flow analysis that will show you where you are at financially today and where it will take you moving forward, whether it's a month from now, a year from now, 5 years, or 10 years from now. So take advantage of this. This is a complimentary service that we're happy to offer to anyone who's interested. All you have to do is ask. Who are we at the Retirement Group? Well, first and foremost, we're a bunch of advisors who have a lot of experience working with a lot of Fortune 500 companies. We understand your benefit programs. So if you at or near retirement, we can help you through that process. This might be your last layoff. Let's just say it that way. We've got offices nationwide, and we are happy to put that complimentary cash flow analysis together for you. You could scan the QR code here on the left and schedule a meeting with myself or one of my colleagues. Send us an email at the info@retirementgroup.com. Give us a call at 1-800-900-5867. And definitely follow us on LinkedIn. You scan this QR code here on the right, and you could follow us on LinkedIn. It's a great resource. Amongst other things, we keep a library of our webinars on our LinkedIn page. We also have a YouTube page where you can find a lot of these webinars as well. A lot of our resources, we do a lot of postings. We're all on LinkedIn, so you can follow us all too. We've got lots of followers and lots of friends, and you never know who you might find if you just look through that list. So again, layoffs, it's not a pleasant thing to think about. And more than likely, once in your lifetime, there's a pretty darn good chance that you might experience this. So definitely you want to be ready for it. You want to have the right mindset for it. You want to stay positive, like I've said. I know it's difficult, but you can get through it. And there are tons of resources out on the internet that are available to you free of charge that will allow you to find, hopefully, your next job and maybe your dream job. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I really appreciate your time. We'll see you at the next webinar. Thank you.